Did you know that Marlboro is one of the most popular cigarette brands worldwide, known for its iconic red packaging and cowboy imagery? Well, that's just a tip of the iceberg. There's so much more you probably didn't know about these creations, like the fact that each brand has a secret ingredient that is responsible for its taste and aroma. But perhaps the most fascinating thing about cigarettes is their long and bumpy production process, from the farm where the tobacco plants soak up sun and moisture to the final tobacco product. This is how cigarettes are made. Before tobacco goes from its leafy form into the enticingly wrapped commodity known as a cigarette, the tobacco plant has to be first planted in the large tobacco fields. The plants thrive under careful cultivation until they reach maturity. These towering stalks adorned with broad leaves stretch toward the sky, each leaf with the potential to become part of the final product. When the time for harvest arrives, tobacco farmers use special techniques to gather the leaves. Two primary methods are commonly used: priming and stalk cutting. In the priming method, individual leaves are carefully plucked from the plant, ensuring only the ripest and most flavorful ones are selected. These selected leaves are then transported to the curing barn. In the stalk cutting method, the entire plant is cut off at its base, and the stalks are left to wither in the field, allowing them to undergo a controlled drying process before being transported to the curing barn. At the barn, the leaves are cured. During this process, the leaves are dried to remove moisture content and achieve the desirable quality. Curing could either be through air curing, sun curing, fire curing, or flue curing, but each technique adds a unique aroma and taste to the tobacco leaves. The air curing method is used for stalk-cut tobaccos, and this involves hanging the leaves in low, humid, well-ventilated barns or shaded areas for 3 to 12 weeks, with the curing process ending when the rib is entirely moisture-free. Once the curing process ends, the leaves remain in the barn to absorb moisture. The sun curing method is similar to air curing, but it happens in the open field rather than in a barn. Here, the tobacco stalks are hung on racks under direct sunlight for days, leaving a bit of natural sugar in the leaves that gives it a slightly sweet taste. Now, after curing the leaves, the farmers condition them in moistening chambers so they don't snap when touched. It sounds like they are going back and forth, but these steps must be followed carefully, or the cigarette won't come out well. After moistening, the next thing is to sort them into grades according to their color, size, and quality. The farmers then take them to the warehouse, where government inspectors check them for quality before shipment. Now at the warehouse, the cigarette company will once again dry these leaves and then stack them in barrels where they'll mature and develop their unique flavor and aroma. Some manufacturers choose specific blends and leaves grades to create their unique cigarette brand. Some of the popular varieties are Burley, Virginia, and Oriental. Now, let's get into the production process. Upon leaving the warehouse, the barrels of tobacco are moved to the manufacturing facility for further refining. But first, the leaves will be inspected by skilled workers with years of experience under their belts. The content of each barrel will be examined for moisture content, and if the moisture levels are deemed unsatisfactory, that defect will be corrected. Tobacco leaves that have excess moisture will have to go through the drying process again in a drying cylinder. Here, the leaves undergo a controlled process, gently extracting excess moisture until they reach the optimal level for production. If the leaves are found to be too dry, they are subjected to a humid environment, where carefully regulated conditions restore their pliability and readiness for blending. With the quality assurance process complete, the tobacco leaves are primed and prepared for the next stage. What follows is to blend the leaves. Cigarette companies all have secret ingredients that they blend alongside the tobacco leaves, and these ingredients are responsible for the unique taste of the cigarette brands. Some brands add fruit juice, some cocoa or menthol for added flavor, and as for the blending process, there are no rigid guidelines. However, a common practice is to introduce the more volatile ingredients towards the latter stages of tobacco processing. This strategic timing minimizes the risk of losses and ensures maximum potency. During the final steps of processing, top flavorings are delicately added to the blend, and these premium additives not only enhance the quality of the smoke, but also contribute to the enticing aroma. Well-blended leaves are key to a cigarette's taste and aroma, reflecting the expertise and tradition of the industry. This process embodies the careful balance of different tobacco varieties to create a satisfying smoking experience. The job of the master blenders is to select and mix leaves to achieve the desired flavor profiles, making the blending process an indispensable step in cigarette manufacturing. It's where artistry meets tradition, ensuring every cigarette delivers the quality and satisfaction consumers expect. Quick history. Centuries ago, cigarettes were handmade by the smoker or in factories. Cigarette factories rolled the sticks on a table, then pasted and hand-packaged them. It was not until 1880 that James A. Bonsack made a cigarette machine that fed tobacco onto a continuous strip of paper, pasted, closed, and cut the cigars using a rotary cutting knife. Now the cigarette-making process is highly automated. Machines do the job while humans inspect. Back to the manufacturing process. Once the tobacco blend is ready, it's time to create the iconic cigarette rod. The blended mix is compressed into cakes and transported by a pneumatic feed system to the cigarette-making machine or maker. Here, the fillers are stored in hoppers where they undergo precise measurement before being dropped onto an unrolled spool of cigarette paper, about 7,000 meters in length. This next part is all about precision. The rod gets sliced into smaller pieces, each one destined to be a single cigarette. Now let's talk filters. These little guys play a big role in the smoking experience. They're made from bundles of synthetic fibers, almost like tiny hairs. Their job? To catch some of the harmful stuff in the smoke, making for a smoother and potentially less harmful puff. But we're not done yet. There's still the tipping paper to add. This thin paper wraps around the filter, connecting it to the rest of the cigarette. It's a bit like the cherry on top of a sundae, the final touch that brings everything together. And just like that, the cigarette is complete. It's cut in half into shorter rods, each one sporting a filter at the end. From start to finish, it's a precise process that results in the familiar product we all know. Before the final packaging, cigarettes must pass quality tests. Cigarettes undergo a comprehensive series of quality control tests to ensure they adhere to industry standards and regulatory requirements. These tests check for weight and size consistency, tobacco blend analysis, moisture content, combustibility, and chemical analysis. Samples of the tobacco blend are usually analyzed to verify the correct blend of tobacco varieties and additives, ensuring the desired flavor, aroma, and smoking characteristics are achieved. Additionally, cigarettes are evaluated to ensure they burn evenly and consistently without producing excessive ash or smoke. Through these quality control measures, cigarette manufacturers strive to make products that are safe, consistent, and meet the expectations of consumers and regulatory authorities. Next, production moves to the packer machine, which bundles 20 cigarette sticks into a pack. Each cigarette receives a foil wrap to preserve its freshness, followed by another protective film covering the pack for additional freshness. The entire process is automated. Packaging plays a crucial role in preserving the freshness and quality of cigarettes while also serving as a key marketing tool. Cigarette packs are designed to provide both practical functionality and aesthetic appeal. Special attention is given to the design and construction of cigarette packs. Features such as flip-top lids, resealable closures, and inner foil linings are incorporated to help maintain the freshness of the cigarettes and protect them from external elements. Some packs also include built-in mechanisms for easy access and convenient storage, enhancing the overall user experience. About 6 trillion cigarettes are manufactured annually worldwide, meaning that tobacco is a multi-million-dollar industry. To make this quantity of cigarettes, up to 5.3 million hectares of land is needed to cultivate the plants. More than 22 billion tons of water is required for cultivation and processing. In recent times, Poland was ranked the highest producer of cigarettes, meaning if you ever took a trip to Poland, you're likely to come across large tobacco fields just waiting to be harvested for the next batch. Did you enjoy your watch? Tell us what part of this process fascinates you the most. We'll be listening.